Good morning everyone and welcome to my garden. My name is Maude and Keith is my constant garden companion. We grow on a moderate sized, relatively small UK coastal garden. Usually it equates to like a USDA zone 9A. Yesterday we were in the garden and we had, it was very cold. It's still a little cold today, but there was no sun. And I was deeply upset that I thought I'd go a weekend and not get any sun, but the gods have prevailed and we actually have sun. And also I had a delivery yesterday. So the delivery that I had quite excited about. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a bit of an unboxing that I've kind of already opened and I know exactly what it is, so it's not a surprise. But if you're here in the UK, one of the garden centers that I really enjoy either ordering from and occasionally visiting, and I say occasionally visiting because they are literally in the middle of Cornwall, like way far away. And every once in a while I try to kind of nip down there because they've got some really kind of cool, rare and unusual plants, and I think I've got a few of them in here, or not even rare, but just kind of uncommon, things that you don't see in most garden centers, so it's well worth the trip if you like to travel around and see garden centers. But also it's just really nice to go through their website because their website is packed full of information. So you've got so much information about how you know, the best conditions, there's videos, there's all sorts of stuff that really inform you. It really kind of goes above and beyond. And also as well, they're at the Chelsea Flower Show, and they've won lots of awards. They've been in business for 40 years and it's just a really cool company. But what I'm really excited about is the plants that I picked up. So the plants that I picked up, there's 3 of them, and I've been talking about 2 of them for a long time, and one of them is something new entirely. So the first 2 we're going to talk about, let's see if I can get in. Okay, so the first one that I want to talk about, and I'll do a close-up on these in just a second, but this one is Osmanthus heterophyllus, basically sometimes called a false holly, or sometimes a tea olive. But this is Osmanthus heterophyllus sasaba. This one is from Japan, and this variety is a flowering osmanthus. It flowers around kind of September, October. It has a lovely fragrance to it, and you know, Easter egg, at some point I would love to make osmanthus wine. I just think that's so cool. I already have a couple of osmanthus varieties that are in the garden. I have at least 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 already. So in those I've got some that are the heterophyllus, so the false holly, they're the ones with the pointed leaves. So I've got Osmanthus heterophyllus goshiki, which is a variegated variety. I've got Osmanthus heterophyllus ogon, which is a really lovely kind of pancake spreading osmanthus with some really lovely golden yellow foliage, which is really lovely. And I also have heterophyllus, I think purpureus or purpurea, but basically it has purple new growth. And I also have 2 other ones, so maybe I have more than I thought I did. So I have 2 other ones. I have, I can never pronounce the name correctly, so I'll put it on the screen. So it's Osmanthus delavayi. It's slightly different in that it's got a rounded tooth to it, and the leaves are a little bit more rounded and they're very soft. And I also have, I think there's another one. Oh, Osmanthus davidii, I believe. And again, that's a very similar family, so the leaves are slightly rounder and larger. Osmanthus is a pretty big group. I really like them for the fragrance. I would love to be able to make soap and candles and stuff with the fragrance because I just like it that much, and I guess that's a reason for me to buy the plants that I bought. I'll probably come up with the most piddly batch of osmanthus wine you've ever seen, but I think it's worth it. What I also like about these plants is that they are all evergreen, so they all keep their leaves. They flower. Some of these will flower sporadically throughout the year with a heavier flower in their kind of flowering month. And I've got some that are summer flowering, some that are spring flowering, and some that are autumn flowering. So that's kind of cool. They come in a variety of different sizes as well. So this one, this sasaba one, this one comes, I want to say it's probably, did I say we were by the coast? So Osmanthus sasaba. So this isn't a massive variety. I plan on keeping this probably about maybe as tall as I am. This is an interesting structure as well because it's a little bit more kind of like a mini tree form. And what I mean by that is that you do see quite a lot of bare branches and then a cluster of these kind of lanceolate, kind of pointy leaves. So I think this is going to be really interesting. I'd like this one to retain its natural shape, but this is a really fun one, and again, this one's from Japan. So this is one that I've not seen before, so I'm really excited about that. So that's the first plant that we have. The second plant that we have you can't look at this one yet. Okay. So the second plant that we have is this one, and it's a little bit bigger. Can I just say the packaging is really, really good, and it was shipped overnight, and the delivery was perfect. The plants came in really, really like peak health, so great. The second one I've got is slightly larger, so this one is Osmanthus fragrans. You can see that the leaves are, the more mature leaves have kind of a tooth to them, and they are lanceolate. This is slightly tender in that it's probably better served in the more kind of southern regions of the UK or the coastal climate, so it should be fine. I should be able to protect this quite well. This one's quite a vigorous grower, and sometimes I order things and then I question how I'm going to be able to stay on top of them, but you can prune, right? So it's fine. So this one is Osmanthus fragrans. So this one is from the Himalayas in China and that area. This one is really larger leaves, which I was looking for something that had a larger leaf that was evergreen so that I could add it to the kind of back woodland border. And this one also flowers. So the flower clusters for this one is kind of white, and this one flowers in the summer. This is a little bit more tender, and I'm assuming that the biggest risk that I'm going to have here is when we get cold wind. So I think if I can grow it up against the fence, that kind of will shelter it a little bit more. So I've got to find a place for this that will work really well. This one, by the way, folks, gets 6 meters by 6 meters, which is just huge. I'm not going to let it get that big. I plan on keeping it a little bit more contained, I think. Yeah, we can keep it contained. So I'm really excited about these two. There is two other varieties of Osmanthus that I'm looking for. One is Osmanthus, I can't remember the name of it, but it basically has an orange flower. So I think they were out of stock of that one, but I'm really looking forward to it. So that's the Osmanthus that we have. So again, more that kind of flowering tree shrub thing. So that theme does continue. And at some point, I've just got to ask myself, where is all of this going? It's fine. And they flower, and their insects will love them. I will love them, and maybe I can make some wine. So that'll be great. Now, the last one that I have, I'm really, really excited about this one. So one of the things that I wanted in this garden, and I want maybe a few more, but I want to do varieties that aren't as common, is I wanted some camellias. I wanted some early flowering and some late flowering, but I also wanted to make sure that the varieties that I picked were actually beneficial for the wildlife, and meaning that they could actually access some of the kind of pollen and nectar. And one of the varieties that I came across is kind of rare, and that it's not, I mean, if I have all my facts correct, feel free to fact check me. So it's kind of rare, and that due to habitat loss, this one is not as prolific as it once was, and it's one that I've never really seen before, but I did see it on a few kind of forums, and then I managed to find this at Grow Course because they have a real good selection of kind of weird and odd and end kind of plants. So this one is Camellia, and I think the way that you pronounce it is Grijsii, but I will put the name on the screen. If you think you can pronounce it better, I challenge you. But this one is a Camellia, and it's really cool. So the kind of flower aspects of this Camellia actually look quite like a heart. So at the terminus of each kind of petal, it creates this kind of heart effect. So I thought that was really twee. It's got a lovely kind of yellow center. Apparently it's supposed to be strongly scented, and it's supposed to be flowering January, February, March time. So that's probably now. I don't know if this one is going to flower this year or next year, because it is only, this is only about 2 years old, by the way. I can be patient for that, but I'm really excited about this one. I'm also nervous about keeping it alive, because it wasn't overly expensive, but I don't want to lose it. And also, so this camellia, I plan on putting towards the back of the woodland garden. In the previous videos, I showed you where I have a canopy of deciduous trees. So I just thought that this would be perfect to kind of grow back against the fence. They kind of require kind of half sun shade, some sun. And usually when things require, full sun, or they say they require full sun in my garden during the peak of the summer, it kind of gets a little crispy. So I'm hoping that this one will be perfectly happy in that kind of woodland border at the back. Now this one is relatively kind of small in that it will get about 1 to 3 meters tall and probably about, 1 to 3 meters in size. I would imagine that given enough time, this one's going to get quite big. And it'll be nice because it'll help kind of create that kind of green canopy. So these are the 3 plants that I wanted to get in. I'm not 100% sure on placement. Yes on the camellia. Yes on the Osmanthus fragrans. But I might have to move one of my shrubs. I'm not certain. And the sasaba, I think I want this one to feature in actually one of the raised beds, because it's got a really interesting kind of growth habit. What I will also say is that if you haven't done it before, if you go to Burncrow's, you can actually get a brochure ordered. And it's just, again, it's just a testament to how well they try to inform you. The information and the plants that they have are really kind of fun and groovy. So this is not sponsored at all. I appreciate. So that's everything that I want to take you through. So I'm actually going to kind of work out plant placement and try to get this in the ground. So it might be difficult to see, but there is a gap. So in the back here, I've got, let me just see if I can give you a better photograph. So in the back, I've got a couple of plants here already. So this one is a genie magnolia. It's relatively small. Some slugs have been kind of nibbling on it, so it's a little worse for wear, but it'll bounce back just fine. I also have a lilac planted, and the idea, sorry for the light glare, is that lilac just kind of fills in this kind of back area and provides a bit of fragrance. And then in front of that, I do have this Chemiciferous Pembury Blue, and this is going to probably get about to here, and then I'll kind of keep it and maintain it in that shape. So this is going to help give me some evergreen vertical interest, and you can see it's such a beautiful blue color. And the lilac will give us a bit of kind of seasonal flower and also scent to the garden and for the pollinators. And then in this section back here, so you can see how tightly I'm planting some of this stuff. So yes, I do know that this gets 6 meters by 6 meters. I am completely aware, and I probably have it in like a 3 foot by 3 foot square, and that's okay, because what I'm going to try to do is get this Osmanthus fragrance to grow within this section, and I'll try to keep it tidy within this area, and it can get kind of as tall as it wants, and obviously providing, you know, summer fragrance and also flower. Also, it's got, you know, a beautiful leaf interest. Now, this is an Osmanthus, and I've planted a different variety of Osmanthus, which is going to stay a little bit more kind of mounding and slightly smaller, and that's Osmanthus delavayi. So this one is going to be in flower very, very soon, where we're in the end of winter. This one's going to be more summer flowering, so that's going to be fabulous. It means that I'm going to get that great Osmanthus fragrance throughout the year. This one is a Vantal holly, and I know it looks odd because I do have this planted so tightly, but this is either going to move, or what I would like to try to do is turn this into a topiary. So I want to turn this into kind of like a ball point maybe, so it'll be relatively narrow, but for me to be able to do that, I really need to let it grow and fill in. And then of course right here I have a emerald lace half standard, so you can see this is quite a big kind of tree, so I also like that this is going to provide a little bit more kind of shade for it as well. I think I've got a little bit of kind of sun scald because I did plant it in the middle of summer. And then behind that I've got another evergreen conifer. So this one I would like to get probably about to here, and to stay compact and narrow, and this is where the planting gets a little bit more compact. I've got a Petunia Pink Crispy. If you go back and look at our woodland long border videos, you can see the plants that are within here, but this will kind of fill in this section. And then behind that and behind this tree, this is where I have moved the Chiara japonica pleniflora, and I also have a eucalyptus, which I'm not sure if that's going to stay there long term. I might even shift it over just a smidge and allow a bit more space for this, and this is something that I'm going to let get as big as it wants to get, and it'll just kind of fill in some of these cracks and provide a nice kind of winter backdrop, as will the eucalyptus to some of our Amelian chairs or Juneberries. So these flower in the spring, and they've got a lovely kind of pink flower. And of course there are some more trees and shrubs going through. So this was the first major change. The soil is it is a lot of clay. It is quite heavy. I've been adding kind of leaf litter and mulch, and every year I add to the soil, so I will do some more top dressing as I go on, but this is one of the things that I'm struggling to kind of deal with, but I wanted to provide enough kind of aeration, and this is mounded up, so it should provide better drainage than if it were at the kind of, do you call it the water line? Which is where, you know, the normal soil line is. So this entire back section I've actually mounded up quite a lot. So I'm really happy with that. I'm going to have to keep an eye on it and make sure it does quite well. Now, the other thing that we're going to do, sorry for the sun, not sorry, it feels great. The other thing that I'm going to do is I need to put the Camellia Grijsii, which is this lovely little guy. So this, as I said, flowers in January, February, March. And it's going to get probably 1 to 3 meters, so it's kind of perfect for this back area. And I'm going to actually dig up, I've got a so Taxus davidii. I'm going to dig that up, and I've got one Taxus davidii here. I know it's hard to see, I'm going to put the other one just here, and that will provide some kind of columnar evergreen interest towards this area. And I've got some more taxus here, so that kind of teams with the theme, and that should give enough space for this camellia to just kind of fill in this back area, because during the kind of winter it's really bare, so I'd really like something that's kind of evergreen and provides a bit more interest on the back wall. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to turn my camera over and, well, not turn it over, it's already turned over. Get my camera set up and we'll get that in the ground. Okay everyone, so I managed to get our Camellia Grijsii in. It's a little wee thing, it's about 2 years old, but it should fill in quite well. There is a bit of a retaining wall here, and at some point we're redoing the entire fence, and then we'll be replacing the retaining wall that's here. But also I've pulled the soil up almost on level with it, so that's less of a concern now. But there are some concrete structures underneath, and I just wanted to make sure there was enough access to actual bare soil so that this can get unimpeded by concrete. So there's a little bit down here, but there should be enough for the camellia to get into the actual ground. I've got a couple of ferns, native ferns, and some native sedges that I've just put back in place. The biggest risk, I think, for this one is to make sure that Keith doesn't wee on it, but I'm really excited to have this in the back of the garden. I think it's beautiful, waxy, kind of rounded leaf structures. So we'll see if this one flowers, but really excited. Next thing to do is get the taxus davidii that was in this place, dig that up and actually move it. Now, I do have a Japanese acer here, and that is very close, but I'll probably limb this up as it gets older, and this can fill in underneath it because this will get taller than this will. And this was a little wee sapling thing, and I've just shoved it in the ground, and it seems to be doing okay. And then of course we have the skimmias and the other things that we put in this kind of natural area in the previous videos, so go back and have a look at those. So I'm looking more and more disheveled as the day goes on. I'm quite but enjoying the fact that it is almost 4. I've taken a little bit of break to do some stuff in the house and also go and meet a really nice friend for coffee. So I'm just back at it. I think the last thing that I'm going to do in this video is get this Taxus davidii planted. When we first bought it, it was probably about this big, and it's put on about that much new growth. And this is a really kind of nice shade kind of tall shrub tree. I plan on, once this gets established, keeping it probably about 20 or 30 centimeters wide, and then kind of like a tall pencil. I already have one back here in the corner, so I'm actually going to take this one, which was in the back of the woodland garden, and I'm actually going to put it in between this kojonomai cherry. Okay. So I'm going to put it behind this kojonomai cherry, and there's going to be one here and then one flanking it. I do have 2 Japanese maples here. One is an orange strain, and the other one is called Butterfly, and I'm not 100% sure if they're both going to make it or make it. But even if they do, I think I have enough space to accommodate this behind. So I'm just going to get this in the ground. Now the soil in the back is quite heavy clay, and I'm kind of out of composted manure, which is what I typically add in when I am trying to break up some of the clay and kind of make it a bit more loamy. And so what I'm going to be adding is kind of some leaf mulch and a couple of other bits and pieces that are just around the area to just kind of help the worms work it into the soil quicker. But this was kind of already growing in clay, so I think it'll be absolutely fine. So I'm just going to get this in the ground, and I think that'll be it for today. So this is the last plant to plant. This is also Surprise, another Osmanthus. So I showed you at the beginning of the video. This one is Osmanthus sasaba. So this is a Japanese variety. It's got kind of an interesting tree shape where it has elements of sparse growth and then clusters of leaves. So I'm really excited about this, but I haven't decided where I'm going to put it. There are 2 possible locations, and I'll show you where. Now, the last thing that I showed in the video was another Osmanthus. This variety is Japanese. It's a little bit smaller than the 6 meter by 6 meter, but it can still get quite big. I'm not sure if this is the final position, because this bed, I think it needs a little bit of tweaking, and I'm not sure what that looks like just yet. But I've basically popped it just here to kind of just provide this kind of nice kind of pyramidal doming kind of shape. It's got a really nice kind of tree-like structure. I might actually move this where my bihu is. That bihu has succumbed to wilt. I'm not sure if I can bring it back, so I might be swapping that out. I think any acers that I'm losing, because I think I've already lost 2, this would be the 3rd one, I'm not going to reinvest in them. And I've done loads of prep for the soil. I think I'm going to go a different way. Adapt to the conditions that you actually have if it's not working. It's just insanity to keep putting acers in. But this bed still has a lot of filling in, but there should be some good kind of strong evergreen interest over time, and a bit more kind of height, etc. So that sasaba is just here. And it's got that kind of mid blue-green, which is really nice. And it should be kind of a nice breakup to the disoma that's diosoma or disoma. I always call it disoma. So that's everything that we've got in the ground. I think the garden is definitely starting to slowly wake up. I'm really excited about this spring and summer. We've got more vegetation and plants than we've ever done. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. There's a couple of building projects that are coming up, so feel free to subscribe and follow along. And if you have any comments or if I've said anything incorrect, just pop a note below, and I'll be sure to take it on board. Anyways, have a lovely time and catch you later.